Hello, welcome to Castanet Penticton's Mayor's Minute. I'm Colin Dacre, joined here by the Mayor, Andrew Jacobin.
Hello.
So, Penticton Yacht Club was before Council yesterday. They were seeking an extension for their license to operate down on the Okanagan Lake waterfront there. The last time they came before Council in November with the same request, similar request, they were looking for 20 years because they have some improvements they want to make there, and they need a loan to get it, and they can't get it without a longer lease. At that point, Council decided against that, went with a one-year extension, and decided that they would send the use of that facility out to the public, out to a request for proposal process. Now they came back, and they're looking for a 5 to 7 year lease, and I understand Council signed off on that.
Yeah, so Council gave staff direction to sort of work on a new license to use they asked for a 5-year plus a 2-year option. So a license to use that would give them the opportunity to continue still invest in, and their model, they usually invest about 200 grand a year. So they've sort of retooled some of their thinking and thought that they can invest 200 grand a year on improving the docks so that make sure that they're maintained well, and the improvements needed are done, and done in smaller chunks instead of maybe doing it all at once, which was part of their philosophy earlier. And so for Council, I think part of the rationale to revisit this or consider their request was, one was to sort of align with the provincial head lease that's coming to fruition actually in 7 years. So if you're going to do any sort of changes, maybe tie that into when the province is going to renegotiate your lease. The yacht club's been running very efficiently. It brings in about 90 grand a year to the city. They are a non-profit group that, especially this last year with the high water, they are there every day trying to protect essentially our asset, and they've done a good job. So, to extend that to better align with the provincial lease ending and whatever our master plan for that area is going to be, kind of makes a bit more sense to sort of extend, and they're willing to retool their thoughts and scale it back and really work on improvements in stages.
All right, so when do you see Council actually putting that RFP process out to the public? I mean, some members of Council themselves, they were I guess, vocal about this is an organization that's been there for decades, and maybe they shouldn't have to. They've already proven themselves. So are they going to have to go through that process? What are you looking at? 5 years, 7 years?
I think as we start developing a master plan for that area, that's sort of the northeastern part of the city of Okanagan Lake there, and the Esplanade, I think once that's a bit better defined, I would argue Council would still go out for some sort of RFP process, depending on the scope of that. Certainly having a nonprofit group that's been a community group that's been there for 27 years or for decades, I think would probably have a leg up on most things. And I think Council of the day will explore that as they go on. But right now, I think we're sensitive to the fact that let's align that with the end of the provincial lease, and also with whatever we're going to do as a master plan in that area. And once that's defined, it'll give better direction of how we should proceed and what we need to do to proceed. And maybe there's a change of appetite, and gives the current Yacht Club and Marina group a chance to prove maybe a different model of doing things in smaller chunks instead of borrowing a big chunk of money and having a long-term lease. There maybe a license to use might work, and that will get explored years down the road.
Well, we're here talking about marinas. What about Okanagan Lake Marina? How's that going and finding a new tenant there, operator rather?
Well, the Trio Marine Group still has this season to operate and fulfill their obligations, and that's as far as we have as an update. My understanding is they're making preparations to do this season, and apart from that, we haven't really explored avenues how to proceed.
If you have a question for the Mayor you'd like to submit, you can send it to letters@castanet.net. Until next time.
Kelowna, Penticton, and Vernon. Pick the edition you want to read in the top left corner of the yellow masthead.